Good evening, sir.
Hello everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you all?
Fine, sir.
Actually, today Dr. Ashok is not able to take class. He is out of station. Why attendance is going low? Only 15 people are there.
नमस्ते सर।
आपके
द्वारा डायल किया गया नंबर
राजेश्वरी जी ओनली 15 लोग हैं आजकल.
सर अभी ज्वाइन कर लेंगे सारे लोग अभी.
ओके. हाउ इज मधुरा?
Fine, sir. Nice to see you.
No, actually today Dr. Ashok is not there. He is out of station.
Achha. Okay,
So I
sir.
am here to just interact with you all. So what is our topic today?
I think MES-084.
84. Yeah.
Yeah. Child rearing practices in modern sciences.
Okay. That is a very interesting topic. So what is child rearing practice?
Bringing up children, teaching them values.
राजेश्वरी
यस सर.
हिंदी में बताएं. पालन पोषण. पालन बच्चों का पालन क्या है? व्हाट इट इज?
सर मौसम के हिसाब से सर उनको देखना चाहिए, और सर डिसिप्लिन वगैरह होना चाहिए, ये सारा सर।
एंड हु इज रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, किसकी जिम्मेवारी है ये?
मदर फादर,
Parents, yeah,
पेरेंट्स।
parents. Mostly mothers, I think so.
ओके सर।
Schools, preschools,
मदर की सर।
preschool. What about preschools?
वो
Yes, sir.
टीचर्स।
Sir, teacher.
Definitely. Teachers,
टीचर्स सर।
definitely.
Yeah. And what about society? Society also.
Yes,
Yes,
somewhat.
sir.
And what about government?
No, sir.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It
यस
is.
सर। यस।
Because of education is the fundamental right of child.
यस सर।
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So what about this kind of regulations like new education policy or policy in 1986 and program action 1992?
यस
So I
सर।
think child rearing practice the role and responsibility of each and everyone. It starts from mother, family members, schools, then teachers, then society, then even government also, even Indian constitution's provisions also. So let us see what it is in your study material. Yeah, is it something visible?
Yes, sir.
यस सर।
Okay. So let's start MES-084 and the topic of course practices in modern preschool education. And the first block is child rearing practices in modern societies. You told that there is no role of society or government. No, it is. Society is the net of relations. So everybody is responsible for child rearing practices. So in this particular topic, we will discuss the relevance of child rearing practices, contemporary influence on child rearing practices, some measures, suggested measures for developing proper child rearing practices, compare child rearing practices with prevailing in various societies, and analyze the scope of good child rearing practices in the present context. So first we will take the relevance or importance, what you say. Yeah. So first we should discuss what is the importance of child rearing practices in modern society. And before going to importance, first we should know what is child rearing. So child rearing needs total involvement. Involvement of whom? Involvement of parents, involvement of family, society, teachers. Second is unconditional love. commitment, perseverance, and most important, total support on the part of parent and relative is known as child rearing. Child rearing varies according to different parenting style. Yes, because in India there are many differences because of area, because of region, because of religion, because of thoughts, because of beliefs, because, so many. So therefore, parenting style is also different. Some family members, some parents thought that right education at right time, but some are not aware. Some are very conscious about their nutrition and healthy food, but some are not aware because of literacy. Some parents are about conscious about medical care at the time and need emotional security and support also. So, if the family is educated, definitely the parenting style is different, or you may say it is a kind of positive child rearing practice. Child rearing means kind of training to child or to bringing up a child by parents or parent substitutes, means guardians, builders, sisters, and relatives. But child rearing is certainly different from parenting, because parenting is kind of subset and child rearing is superset. So it differs from parenting in the sense that in child rearing, the emphasis on the act, training of the child, bringing up a child, and the interaction between the parents and child. So one educationist, Bouchard and Jenny, and third one is O'Connor. Bouchard in 1994 and Jenny and O'Connor in 2005 explained the child rearing. They said that it's involved transmission of the tradition, beliefs, culture, cognitive actions from parents to the offsprings. It means child rearing is the kind of transmission of belief, knowledge, customs, culture, values, and many more, which are required for the holistic development of the child. Next is, what are the child rearing practices basically? In the previous slide, we discussed what is child rearing, but in this particular slide, we will discuss child rearing practices in the modern society. You know, when we talk modern society means we are talking about kind of materialistic, kind of scientific, or kind of developing society. So social science experts means who believe in social science, and they have given theory on child development under the umbrella of social science. They identify the following dimensions of child rearing practices, and according to them, child rearing is kind a training for obedience means child should be obedient enough. Means values inbuilt. Means he or she should be aware what to do and not to do. According to social science expert, they believe that child rearing is a training to take responsibilities. Means child should be a self-dependent enough. He or she should be responsible member of the society, of the family. If the child is having value, culture, obedience, responsibility, then it's common. It's important that he or she should take care of their younger siblings, because it's also come kind of value, because in the value childs learn the hierarchy in the family. So child rearing is training to take care of and help younger siblings and other dependent people. Child rearing is a training to achieve standard of excellence in performance. Here performance means social level, and because of obedience, responsibility, taking care of youngers, the child should achieve a standard of excellence. According to them, child care is rearing to care of themselves and to be independent. Once the child is responsible, means he or she should be independent. This is child rearing practice about social science experts. If you talk what are the significance of child rearing practice, why child rearing practices are important for the child. So child rearing practices are important to develop awareness about child care for overall growth and overall development of the child, to make him or her complete person. Complete person means responsible person for the society. The next significance is to fill the gap in the knowledge about child rearing. To understand child rearing practices with respect to cultural differences. Yes, that as I already said, that child rearing means the preservation of cultural, social, and some family credentials. The next is to pass information to people who are engaged, who are really engaged in child health care. Means that is mother, that is Anganwadi worker, that may be preschool teacher, all. So this information should reach to each and everyone who are engaged in child health care, health and care. To translate the knowledge obtained into actions. This is the next significance. So if we see in earlier sessions, We discussed what is preschool, what is the philosophers' thoughts, what are their philosophy, and what they said about the child education, what is child education, what was the stage, and what was the contribution of government, society. But in this particular, we are discussing, we are just confining with child and family and moreover society, because we said and we understand that family is the first school of the child and mother is the first teacher of the child. Therefore, the maximum practices, maximum child rear practices comes under the supervision of mother, next other family members. What is next? So next, what are the influences on child rearing practices? These child rearing practices are important for all our development of the child, all our development of the society, because child is the center point. Even if we see our all education policy frame the curriculum, frame the syllabus, frame the education system by taking the child into the center. But and child rearing is the first step of the development of the child. But some are, of course, influences are also there who positively or negatively affect the child rearing practices. So first is discipline. As I already said, that discipline, or you may say parenting style, is different in one and all family, all society also. Some family may be kind of more disciplined, some may be less disciplined in respect to the child development. So discipline directs the child in developing and understanding about desirable and undesirable behavior expected from them. Because discipline teaches the child what is good, what is bad, it should be and it should not be. What are the desirable actions, what are not. It all comes from the discipline, and the discipline may not equal, may not similar in all the families. So it discipline influence, it has positive influence on the child rearing practices. The second is goal, and goal may be whose goal? The goals may be of society, maybe of family members, maybe of mother, maybe of even child. But here we will talk the goals of parents. So each parent has different goals based on different parenting style. In some families, there may be a kind of business occupation for their family members, so their parenting style or their kind of teaching, kind of moderating, kind of saving the child into the business occupation only. And some may have other goals for their child. So sometimes goals affect positively and sometimes it may burden on the child. So parents should fix or should have a goal by understanding the level capacity of the child, even interest also. Educated parents, definitely if the parents are educated, then of course the development, environment for the development of the child will definitely, certainly different from other families, because their parenting style, include better health care of the child, better education of the child, better cultural heritage, even discipline better, so many things. So knowledgeable persons not only provide good education for their children, but also lead them in right way of living. This is the impact of educated parents on the child. Even type of family, yes, of course. The pupil, the child live in joint family and other may in nuclear family. They may have certainly different parenting style, and therefore child rearing practice is also different, because in joint family many family members are there to monitor, to moderate, to guide, to help the child, whereas in nuclear family, mother, father, it is very less group who is involved for the development of the child. The next is parents' value, belief, and religious faith. Yes, of course, because in India there is a diversity of beliefs, even religion, faith. Therefore, the influencing on child rear practice is definitely different. So, parents' personal experience and values are the most deciding factors influencing their rearing practices. Religion, of course, religion of parents to surface as one of the factor that influence the child rearing practices, because in every religion parenting style is different, and therefore the child rearing practices is also different. Economy of the family, of course, because economy affect the livelihood, work pattern, even facility at the home, provisions, structures of family, even relationship within the family because of economy, and and in turn child rearing practices too. So economy is also play very important role on child rearing practices. Growth of urban areas means before becoming a urban, the areas would be rural, and gradually they become urban. So definitely in urban there was a old ways for child rearing, and in modern society definitely of course it has been changed. So old way of doing things and traditional child rearing practices are being replaced by new modes of child rearing. So in developing areas, child rearing practices are also different because of their parenting style, because of their economic structure, and because of their type of family. Yes, of course, because of education of family members. So these are the influences which may occur on the child rearing practices. What are the essential elements for good child learning? So first, quality time. What is quality time? I mean, the time which is being invested with the child for transmission of values, culture, that may consider as quality time. So quality time is very important for parents when the issue of child rearing comes up. You know, for a child, parents means mother and father. Anyone may as a role model. But If you talk child rearing learning, then children needs both mother and father as a role model. Do not spoil the child by showing parents and treats to avoid parents' guilt feelings. Parents' role is very important for good child learning because, as we said, as we discussed, that the family members are the first mentor of the child for their overall development. And for that, all family members, teachers, do not encourage misbehaviors like stealing the things, lying every time with their mother and fathers, even aggression every time child shows their aggression. These all should deal with very patience, with love, with care, and that too without shaming or scolding. Be aware of physical and psychological image changes of the children. For good child learning, the parent should be aware of physical and psychological change in the child. They should guide their parents towards their healthy eating habit, even sleeping habit. For the good child learning, they should be aware of oral health of the children. Means he should be a good speaker. He should not use abuse. He should not wrong words in their communication. And therefore, the parents should pay visits occasionally to the dentist also because sometimes child eat chocolate every time and because of that their teeth, their oral health may suffer. Promote positive emotions like self-esteem, yes I am. Self-confidence, yes I will do. Self-worth, that I am also part of family, I am also part of cooperation. Cooperation means with their siblings, younger and others. Kindness, happiness, joy. There are so many things. And all these begin from childhood. So it is the duty of the persons who are involved for child rearing and good child learning, like mother, father, teachers, all should promote these positive emotions. Further, they should also understand the child discipline which are needed for the development. And with rewards, punishment is also important for development of the child. Open communication channel with the children. Child normally start asking question with the parents. Even they start question answers since age of 3 years. But as a parents, as a teacher, we should listen the child and should respond their each and every queries. If we stop the question answer habit from the child and develop it affect the overall development of the child also. Before starting the session, I asked the whose role are important in child rearing. So, role of family, role of teachers, role of society. But you know, the trend in Indian context or Swedish context or American system, everywhere child rearing practices are different. Trend is different. If we talk about the child rearing practices in Indian context, then we have already discussed. I'm repeating that the India is one among the most potential countries in the world in terms of human resource because we have maximum young members in India, and the coming childs are also and will become the human resource for India. Right now, about 345 million children lives in the India. Child rearing in Indian system has strong roots on family culture and structural pattern. Socioeconomic status and religions are also having very important role on the child rearing practices in Indian context. Yes, of course, Indian mothers are very close to their babies, and therefore the mothers are the one who is responsible at the pre-age for child rearing practices or for child overall development of the child. Mother enjoy physical closeness to their babies. Even if we talk about Indian families, and Indian families strongly favor male. They prefer male child. Some are positive child rearing practices, but some are also required some kind of more intervention of government or more intervention of the society. So this gap also can be bridged. So for a family, for a society, male and females all should be equal. If you talk about child rearing practice in Swedish system, here government is more responsible. Government is more alert. So Swedish parents enjoy government subsidies and all benefits to bring up their children. Swedish government provide leave for both to mother and father to look after their babies up to 16 months. If you talk about Indian context, then paternity leave is less, maternity leave is quite sufficient. But in Swedish, the leaves for mother and father are equal. The culture of Swedish society assumes that both father and mother are equally responsible, physically, psychologically, and economically parenting. So Swedish has a culture that values children and their rights as they grow up into a full potential citizen. So in Swedish, government role, government intervention, government nurturing is more than enough the parenting role or the family members, because they provide opportunities for the child development. If you talk about this American system, in USA, schools focus on individualistic approach. Children learn right attitude and values primarily from their home environment, and then from schools and peer groups, teachers and society. So as American place high value on dignity of labor, they encourage their children to engage in summer jobs and other part-time assignments. You know, in previous slides we learned that kind of responsibility and kind of leadership and kind of self-esteem. So in American system, they promote these importance factors which are responsible for all round development of the child. They nurture the child because they provide high value and high priority for the child development, but as well as they train the child for becoming a part of their economy by doing some work for the system for the government also. American parents are more concerned about children's self-esteem and feelings. Therefore, they gives more scope for individualism and self-expression. If we compare all threes, then in India, child self-esteem, I found personally that is little low, little less than other child rearing systems like Swedish and American. But we hope, as per the recommendation of NEP 2020, this gap also is going to be bridged. So this was the about child rearing practices, the factors which influence the child rearing practices. So let us talk to each and everyone. For a teacher, why these child rearing practices are important? Can anybody please? Because as per the topic, the main interest, main emphasis was given to the family, to the society, and why it is important for the teachers. Rajeshwari, so today you are able to speak. मधुरा,
ओके सर।
हाँ बोलो, टीचर को क्यों जरूरी है ये सब जानना?
सर टीचर को इसलिए जरूरी है क्योंकि बच्चे के बारे में हमें मालूम होना चाहिए कि वो किस तरीके का है, उसका बिहेवियर कैसा है, क्या है सर, इस सारा कुछ जानना चाहिए ना सर इसके बारे में।
अभी बॉर्डर लाइन पर हैं अभी।
सर फिजिकल कंडीशन, पर्सनल सर, डिसिप्लिन वगैरह, ये तो सारे बच्चे के बारे में हमें मालूम होना चाहिए।
So what is school? Is it different from society? School is also society.
Yes, sir.
School is also family.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you believe in Froebel theory, then he said that teacher is a mentor. Teacher is a, and this school is a kind of garden. So as a teacher, we also should be aware what are the rearing practices and what are the factors which influence these practices. And as a teacher, by knowing all influences and hurdles and positive aspects, we can also help the family members in the PTM, in the parent teacher meeting, or in their any other support activities. So these are important. Any other, please, who wants to add something? Today, Madhura is little silent. Why it is so?
No, sir.
Are you
I'm
okay?
I'm thinking. No, sir.
Because otherwise, I have taken, I think, two courses. This group was very vibrant. But today, I am not finding that. Dr. Suchitra is there? And what's her name? Sibi. The surname is Sibi. She's also
Yes,
not. She's also quite mum today. Why?
sir. I'm not sure about the answer, sir, so
No,
I'm
no. You are a teacher, so see. This is a kind of whatever we are learning. We all are doing in our field areas. As a teacher, we are doing so many activities by learning child psychology, by learning child development practices and the steps. We all are aware. Hmm. Madhuraji, would you like to add something?
Um, just 1 minute, sir.
maybe to understand about the child to help them in studies and then
Exactly. Yes, yes. Go on. What is next? Please complete this sentence.
to understand, support them by knowing their behaviors.
Their behaviors, even their cultures,
Yes.
even their beliefs, because the main important target and main important aim of the education is what it is, whatever is inbuilt in the child, it should become, it should come out from the child. And the role of teacher is to just help, to just mentor, to just facilitate. So if the teacher is not aware these practices, then how he or she will help the child? So good. So what is our next topic? Next is comparison of child rearing practice in developed and developing countries. You know, we have two type of countries. One is developed and second is developing. And India comes under which? Is it developed country or developing?
developing,
Pardon?
Developing.
developing
Yes,
country.
yes,
It
it
comes
is
under developing.
developing. It is developing. So definitely the child rearing practices are different, and one hint is already given in the previous slide. What are the practices and what are the belief in Indian context? What are in Swedish and what it is in American system. So we are going to discuss in kind of detail. So in this slides we will discuss the meaning and importance of the child rearing practice. We have already discussed in previous slides. And what are the factors that influence the child rearing practice? This we have already discussed, but in term of in term of developing and developed, we will discuss again. The child rearing practices in various countries. Compare the major child rearing activities in developed and developing countries. The most emphasis or most focus will be the practices, child rearing practices in developed and developing countries. So, first, going to detail, first we will learn the factors affecting the child rearing practice. Although we have discussed in earlier practice, but there are some addition. You know, education is lifelong process. Learning is lifelong process. So therefore, child rearing is also long going process. Means even up to the teenage. After teenage, the child become kind of adult, kind of self-dependent. But even 0 to 6 year, it is very important. And you know, it is a social practice, social process. Social process in social means family, parents, teachers, all comes under the social, under the society. If the child rearing is social process, therefore the process of the child rearing is also being affected by many factors. I would say the many social factors. And some of the major factors are cultural differences, because of discipline, because of their value system, and because of their attitude, means attitude of family members and attitude of family society. So first, cultural difference. Because of cultural difference, we learned that we found that there is a difference between child rearing practices in families because of their cultural differences, their cultural background. You know, if we see historically, in British home, children shared bedroom and beds. Even today, Hispanic immigrant families believe that parents or adults should sleep with young children. Even this also in it is true for Indian context also, because family members sleep with their children and they enjoy their maximum time with the child. Discipline is also next affecting factors. You know, as we have discussed that discipline in every family is not similar. Some families, some parents may very strict, and if they are strict, they are also expect from their children to be good all the times. Some parents believe that children are naturally good. They believe in kind of naturalism, or and some who believe that children are naturally good, they give more freedom to the children. As far as the strict family members, they gives very limited freedom to their child, because they expect all time the child should be disciplined. In other ways, many parents encourage their child for learning lessons by natural consequences, whereas some parents provide the kind of environment for their learning, means some discipline and some uh, regulated and some mentored environment for the child learning. Third is values. Value is also part of kind of discipline and cultural heritage. So values and attitude are also important factor for child rearing practices. Values and attitude preached in the family are being absorbed by the child because he learn from the birth what are the values system of the family, what are the attitude of family members. Some parents send their children for work and some not. Adolescents encourage employment just because they can use the money as they like. And in some families, the child have already a level, a, a status that does not require any money issue, and they are not uh, interested to for kind of little employment and all. So these are the factors which affect the child rearing practices. So we will discuss the child rearing practices in developed countries first. Thereafter, we will discuss the child rearing practices in developing countries. So Sweden we have already discussed because in Swedish society, is in Swedish system, government is more responsible, more alert for the child rearing practices, or as you say that you may say that for overall development of the child. So first line is very wonderful that Swedish babies are lucky as the government take child rearing very seriously. Why? Because as we have discussed that they provide equal opportunity, equal leave opportunity for mothers and fathers. They provide the kind of nurture rooms or nurseries for the child for their growth and development. Further, Swedish governments also provide the subsidy for child rearing, and they also support the rights of the child. Moreover, the Swedish government provide equal time for parents. Whether he is mother or father, they provide equal time. They emphasis on work. Even they believe that it is a social responsibility to nurture, to care the child. So social emphasis is treatment of the child. Means treatment of the child is the responsibility of society as well as government. Government support of parenting, and more important, the Swedish has very good system for preschool education. Similarly, more or less, because Japan is also developed country, so therefore they have also a strong, very strong child rear practices. See, in Japan, children's fewer than 7 are traditionally regarded as belonging to the god. All Japanese thought that the child is God. And when the child is God, so their feeling also becomes important to the child because no one wants to God unhappy. So Japanese treat the child as a god or belonging to the god. So therefore they keep the god happy, and children are treated with compassion so that they don't go back to the gods. So see the kind of attachment with the child of family, parenting as well as government in Japan. So what they think, they always emphasize periodical health checkup, consultation service, public financial aid for child rearing. They have also a provision for child allowances. Education is also education system since preschool to higher education is also good in Japan. And pre-education is the root. Some other important child care facilities also important in Japan, means home child care services. There is a kind of NGOs and kind of group and kind of registration, and after registering themselves, the male or female may provide the services for child care at the home of the child, because the family members, mother and father, may involve for their in job, may engage for their jobs. So the home child care services becomes very important, and it is a legalized service in the Japan. Special child care for sick children, short stay child care. Sometimes childs require temporary child care, and many times child care are required for a long period. So both facility is there in Japan for the children. Mother child rearing support services means kind of crutch, kind of home service for the child. These are the available in Japan, and that all are with the support of government. United States of America, this we have also discussed in previous slide, because in USA the government is more alert, more attentive towards child rearing practices. So American child rearing practices have roots in certain aspect of, even they believe in Christianity. So they start Christianity since their birth. Just a moment, hold please. Yes. We were talking about American system. So, American child rearing practice have roots kind of this sect of Christianity. In USA, children benefits lots from preschool educations because the government intervention is there. And the most of parents in USA works outside from the home. So to meet the needs of the children, they depends on preschools and daycare because in American there are various system means kindergarten, Montessori, and various this public sectors preschools are also there. So in USA, preschool education is government funded educational program which is organized and administered at the local and state level preschools. The US Congress has passed No Child Left Behind Act, and the act says that education for all. Method of preschool education is also different in USA. The activities of preschools include arts and craft, music, educational game, perceptual motor activities, even listening skills well. So these are the some important difference in child caring practice in developing countries like USA. If you talk New France, France is also comes under the development countries. Their education system is also rich. Pre-education system is also rich. From 3 months onward, in France, New France, babies are sent to crèche. Means a strong crèche system is there. The French pupil nurseries and daycare centers are funded by local and regional authorities, and some are sharing fees means parents and schools. And there are many other alternative programs for babies, like assistants, maternals. It is for babies or after school care for older children. They are paid to look after children either on their own premises or at their homes. They are allowed to take 5 children at a one time. They should have trained or educated means state child care diploma they should have, and it is subjected to regular inspections means regular inspections also take place to monitor assistant maternals. Then second is crèche parentals. They are run by parents association on sharing basis means parents collect the money and they start some parental crèche. They pay equal share of cost. They provide food and equipment and many other activities. They play an active role in nursery management. So this is about developed countries. Is anybody else? Yeah, one more is New Zealand is also there. So what New Zealand's have, is it different or is it kind of sharing similar? Yes. The mothers in New Zealand are serious and dedicate themselves to care giving to their babies. Most of them have no choice since they are often have no close family support, and since the father often worked long hour outside the home, and many of the mothers felt unproven and sometimes unacknowledged. The nursery system in New Zealand is like that kindergarten type. But as far as age is concerned, they admit children of age 2.5 year in preschools, and these schools are controlled by teachers, and the ratio of school and teachers is 1 is to 15. One teacher and 15 children. In New Zealand, there are some others facilities means play center. It is managed by parents. From birth, children can attend with parents and gradually without parent support. Daycare is also there. They also follow childhood curriculum. Its procedure is more flexible than kindergartens and play centers. They are less parental involvement and the expense is high. Playgroup is also there. Many preschools playgroup are providing their services for child rearing. They meet weekly or fortnightly, and many of the programs are like drama, gym, music, coffee groups, crash groups, library. These are many which comes under the playgroup. So this is about the facilities and the child rearing practices in developed countries. Next is, sorry, earlier was developed countries. Now we will discuss what are the child rearing practices in developing countries. In India, we have already learned. Go quickly. Childhood is viewed as a sensitive period or important period for the children, and in this particular age, as per Indian philosophy, they believe that they can be molded in this is particular year that is known as childhood as you like. Means as parents, as society likes, the children can be molded. The environment and the parents play important role. Yes, as per Indian context, Indian mothers are affectionate because they have affections with their babies. Even they are too much affected with their baby. They used to kind of yeah, oil or ghee and carry them close to their bodies as a massage for their physical health. Indian child is given opportunity for self growth. Family bond is there because affection between the family members, values, then one has to care about their siblings and youngers. Love within the family is important. Further, discipline, strict discipline is also important, and this discipline mostly taken by mothers. Indian families prefer boys. This is an anomaly, but what we can say, but as a teacher, we should avoid, we should preach this anomaly. Siblings are also in charge of taking care of their younger one that we have already covered. What happened in Pakistan? See, nursery and kindergarten schools are main preschool education centers in Pakistan. They run many private sectors. They also under the impression of Christianity, missionaries, but it is for mainly parents, means educated parents. One system is also there. The students of these classes means is preschool age 3 to 5 in Pakistan. To teach, he is known as Kaji. China, although it is comes right now, it is comes under a developed, semi-developed, but it is coming in developing country. So preschool is in China are also as a kindergarten. Programs in kindergarten are for children 3 to 6 years. As in Indian context, it includes a week-long boarding that children arrives on Monday morning and returns to home on Friday evening. What is important in Egypt, the early childhood education is in run with Arabic culture. The daycare centers are administered by Ministry of Social Affairs. Nursery school accepts children between 2 to 3 years. Many private nurseries are there, but they are little costly, expensive, but lack resources and personals. These private nurseries are being preferred. Some are sponsored by private organizations like Women's Society, mosque, church, industrial factories, and recreation clubs. So this is developing country. Next is yes. So what is comparison of child rearing practice in developed and developing countries? Although we have discussed the country wise, yes, yes. So as a holistic, if we see, all developed countries recognize the importance of giving good training and experiences for the young ones and starts from earliest age as far as possible compared to developing countries. Because there are some areas in developing countries where parents may not aware or the structure of society may different. So in some areas, the age for taking admission in preschool or Anganwadi may different. In the both cases, means developed and developing. The responsibility of child rearing is put on the shoulder of women. Men's participation in comparatively less, except Swedish. Now they are encouraged sharing of responsibility between a father and mother. Researches show that both developed and developing countries seriously look on the upbringing of their babies, and the government pass various acts, various norms, various regulations to provide financial support for running various pre-primary schools, giving nutritious food, medical care, providing good training to the teachers. The developed countries treat boy and girls equal, whereas in developing countries they prefer boys over girls. Developed countries concentrated on individual development of the new generation, but in developing countries give some emphasis for social development. Children of developed countries experiences more freedom than that of developing countries. Educational availability, if we talk about, it is high, it is higher than developed countries. Children enjoy various type of grants and other facilities in developed countries. Recently, there is a progressive change in in this field in developing countries too. Well organized program in developed countries make the training systematic and effective, whereas the developing countries are also trying to implement quality programs. Next, if we see the pre-primary enrollment in developed and developing countries, there is a table which is categorically clearly crystal shows that there is a difference between the developed country and developing country as far as enrollment pattern is concerned. If you see the USA, this is the enrollment pattern, means 63 to 60, means more or less 60% enrollment in USA. If we see in India, then maximum is 39%. China is also same, maximum 41%. Pakistan is enrollment is good, but there may be some other reason because the literacy rate is not so much higher in Pakistan. Egypt, same case is there. But if we see in USA, Japan, France, New Zealand, Sweden, the enrollment at primary level, pre-primary level is showing very high. So now it is the concern of even Indian education system also, then they should give focus on this particular, although it is a old one and carved out from your study material. The latest picture made different because I think this time the pre-primary education enrollment would be near about 50%. Next is unit third. Oh my God, there are 4 unit. Oh, sorry, 2 unit more. Yeah, to childhood education in India, current practice. What are the current practices? So this is about history and early childhood education in India. Although we have discussed major policy framework which facilitate childhood education in India, and how to select ideal practices for organizing a preschool program. What are the need for holistic approach in child rearing, and what are the adequacies and inadequacies for current practices, and drive what are the measures to improve these practices. So first we will discuss early childhood. Although history we have already learned, then something which are just for memorize and just revising. As far as India is concerned, presently emphasis systematic and scientific way of early childhood education is a recent development in India. If you analyze Indian society historically, and it clearly says that traditionally the formal education was limited to certain section of society, and most of women children were denied due to social discrimination and social structure or gender imbalance. After the independence, various activities took place for the early childhood education, as you must we remember. Kindergarten scheme was there, which was introduced with the help of Mahatma Gandhi that we have discussed in very beginning sessions. But integrated child development services, which was officially comes in 1975, and which is perhaps the world largest non-formal education program because of population of India. As you know, the maximum and highest young generation, or you talk human resource, is high in India as compared to other countries. National policy also plays very important role. If we talk 1986, the recommendations of 1986 National Policy of Education giving a special emphasis on early child care education. And my earnest request to all of you, please go through the new education policy 2020, which totally depend on early childhood care education. That is the backbone of new education policy 2020. In 2006, early child care education has been shifted to Ministry of Women. This is the history that we all are aware. Even in 2009, Right to Education Act was came, and because of this act, you know that provision was there that 6 to 14-year means elementary education is compulsory for each and every learner, and it is the state responsibility to provide this facility to each and every child. Next is, I think, because with this there are some constitutional provisions are also there. Article 45, Article 21, and one more which is left. One article is also there, 21, 45, or 30th, which provide equal education even in rural and tribal areas. So, you know, we have already discussed the philosophy of preschool education in details. We learn about Frobel. You know, Frobel, he has also started this kindergarten schools, even in India also. And he believes that child is a kind of small tree, and teacher is a gardener, and whole school and society is a garden for the development of the child. So Froebel concepts on education are mainly for preschool children from age 3 to 7 years. He believes that early childhood experiences form the basis for future development of a person. He also believes that children need a place means kind of garden, where they could grow naturally and spontaneously for developing their creativity, skills, as well as knowledge also. He assumed that kindergarten is a place where young children are nurtured and appropriate training. See, where the child nourished, the role of gardener and teachers becomes very important. And Froebel has given very important theory in terms of pre-education, preschool education. Maria Montessori, we have already learned that she identifies certain sensitive period for development. Even after just independence, she came into the India and started Montessori school. Even she developed and she given importance for training of teachers also, because the whole education system was different from Indian culture. You know, philosophy of Anganwadi is there. You all are aware there is a scheme of government under the ICDS. Anganwadi centers also play important role for the physical, moral, and this what would say cognitive development of the child. And Anganwadi centers are there, and there are trained Anganwadi workers are also there. Next is to major policy framework for childhood education in India. You know, ICDS in 1970-75 we have discussed that, which was targeted for children, pregnant and lactating mothers. Non-formal education was one of its major goal, in addition to health and nutrition. National Education Policy 1986 we have already discussed, and it has emphasis that holistic approach of care and education of the children between 0 to 6 years, especially from socially disadvantaged group, and support for girls and working mothers. National Nutritional Policy was also came in 1993, which identified children from 0 to 6 years as high risk group. This group was known as considered as high risk group because this is the roots where child learn, understand many things of the society as well as families. So purpose to give high nutritional services to the children, that was the main objective for framing the national nutritional policy. Convention on Right of the Children in 1992, and in the same years 1992 program of action was also there, and both have given important for the development of the child. POA means kind of in term of education and knowledge, and this rights of children that also cater that safeguard of rights of the children as far as their legal base. National Education Policy, National Policy on Empowerment of Women. It came in 2001. National Plan of Action for Children. It came 2005. The National Curriculum Framework in 2005. That is the important outcome of NCERT. And as far as National Curriculum Framework of NCERT 2005, which advocated that 2 years of preschooling with playway method, which are developmentally appropriate. So National Curriculum Framework is important, and in this light, I also would like to tell you that based on the recommendation of New Education Policy 2020, there is a upcoming National Curriculum Framework which is also drafted and framed by the NCRT, and which is available on NCRT website. So you all should be go through that what National Curriculum Framework 2023 says. The 10th 5-year plans and the 11th 5-year plans, these all have given emphasis for the child education 0 to 6 year, and especially implementation of ICDS. Current practices in childhood education. The ICDS is term is not new for you. Anganwadi centers is also not new for you. But one thing is important: that all Anganwadi centers are running under the Integrated Child Development Services, and which comes under the Government of Women Welfare. And apart of two above two, there are some NGOs, some voluntary or organizations, some private organizations which all are playing important role for this childhood education in India. So these are the ideal practices for preschool education. Means maturity level of the child 0 to 6 year. It is their role of schools. Then they should provide the kind of mentoring that maturity level should be strengthen and should be uplift of the child. So, and for that, high quality of staff should be there in the preschools. High quality staff means the staff should be trained in terms of nurturing the child of the particular age that is very low, means 0 to 6 years. School environment and curriculum is also should be kind of as per the age of the child, and the schedule of activities whatever is being taken place in the school, these also should be based on the interest and should be based on the age and should be based on the kind of playway. Parental involvement in and the community participation, yes, it is also very important. There is a provision in school for PTM, and through drama, through poem, through story, then community participation also be taken care. So needs for an eclectic approach. The school readiness approach target learning through direct instructions, means which allow more time for sheet work. The curriculum should include basis for reading and writing. And reading and writing, one terms are also there, that is arithmetic. Means curriculum should include 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. And these all should be based on scientific temperament, means problem solving and analytical skill. As far as arithmetical concept is there, it could be developed through disk, blocks, puzzle box, tiny objects, seeds, manipulative, and even pictures also. And play could be considered as a important, not only important, most important media for social learning. So the playway method should use in this particular age group that we all are uh, discussing since first day, because children learns how to work with a group, and group means play, how to negotiate, how to handle disappointments, how to express their ideas. So these all comes under the playway method, and that's in that too in play groups. So this was the unit third. This is also one important, the childhood education. What are the regional specificity and what are their specific practices? So childhood education practices in India, I think we have already discussed, but see what is new. Regional specific childhood education. What are the strategies undertaken by the states for promoting childhood education, and the constitutional provisions, what they are, policies of the government for childhood education, and finally what are the implications of childhood education practices for preschool education in India. Quickly, we should go see. Even you all are know that the role of state is very important for providing education in India also. If we see the developed country provisions, but in India it is also becomes, and it is the constitutional provisions. So across the state and districts, the literacy rate of female, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes are low as compared with overall literacy rate. This is the fact, because if you see the regional uh, regions wise data, this is true. The World Bank observed that there is a remarkable difference in child development among the various states of India. Means if you see the Bimaru state, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, and there is so many states which comes under the term of Bimaru. So these states are still lagging behind and are below the national average, like Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, even Odisha. Studies shows that children belonging to rural areas reflect the least probability of the attending any educational program as compared to children in urban areas. Means rural area interest is less than urban area children interest for education. In the rural areas, only 21% of children attending school, whereas in urban areas it is 36%. Even interstate variations in the participation of school programs exist. State, you know, if we see above that there are other state, and because of state specific reason, the enrollment is may differ, but even interstate variation is there. Like Kerala, Maharashtra, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, more than 25% children are enrolled in preschool education. And children are state like Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Rajasthan have very low. So this is the kind of eye-opening data for school education status as far as India is concerned. What projects undertaken by the state? I have taken very few because there are very state-wise various project is there. Early childhood education project is there, and it is, I think it is many of state abilities project is available in many each and every state. Then second is nutrition education and environmental sanitation project. you know if the nutrition and environment and sanitization is comes, means we are talking about the health of child. So it is already available in each and every state policy. Community education participation project is also there, and this project aims to develop a package of education program for the whole community using the available resource. Primary education curriculum renewal project is also there, and the aims of that 6 to 11-year age group also be taken care. Comprehensive access to primary education project, and the main emphasis of this project is to cater the group of 6 to 14 years age. Next is provisions for childhood education in India. Many of we have discussed. See, there are some constitutional provisions, means Article 15, Article 45, Right to Education Act 2009. So these are the constitutional provisions for early childhood care education. And since day one, we are discussing all these constitutional provisions. As far as policies are concerned for early childhood care educations, so first policy on education program as far as childhood care education is, that is education commission, means that is known as Kothari commission also. It was the first commission who has given emphasis on early childhood care education. After that, national education policy 1986, then program of action 1992, and many of next means national nutrition policy, national commission for children, national policy for empowerment of women, national health policy, national plan of action for children, national curriculum framework, which is developed and which is created by NCRT, which we have already discussed, and Right to Education Act. Many provisions we have already discussed. Just go through. Yeah. So there are some specific childhood education practices in India. If you talk public initiative, if you see, then since 1975 ICDS is there, and early childhood education scheme is there, Rajiv Gandhi National Crèche scheme is there, district primary education program DPEP is also there, which is mainly in Uttar Pradesh and this Rajasthan. Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan is there, it is all over India. Mahila Samakhya program is there, Jansala program, and some voluntary initiative also, means private institute, innovative practice through community participation. And if we see the this section Jagar Safar, that is Maharashtra, Chinara Angla Karnataka, and Mukti Visa Odisha, Lok Sampark Abhiyan Rajasthan, this Madhya Pradesh, School Readiness Center Assam. There are so many specific. Meena campaign Uttar Pradesh, Udan Khatola, this is also from Uttar Pradesh, Hindola Uttar Pradesh, Rani Lakshmi Bai Bridge, this is Maharashtra. So these are so many private and voluntary scheme also there. So, what are the implications of preschool education? Early childhood education centers should be established within easy reachable distance from home to child. And you know, the if we talk the policy, then it is a provision. Then within the 3 kilometer radius, there should be a primary school, and within the 8 kilometer there should be elementary school. And as far as this preschool concern, there are so many private and NGOs and Anganwadi, means uh, they are easily available for the child. All activities related to early child education should be linked with primary schooling system that we have already discussed, because early childhood care education is the best for primary schooling. You know, if you remember, the main aim of early child education is to ready the child for primary schooling system. Mass public awareness program need to be undertaken to make the public aware of various aspects of early child care education. And you know, there are like SCRT and diets, their role is very important. So these, either SCRT or diet in the particular state and particular area, these should be strengthened to have state-based curricula and training of early child care education functionaries. You know, SCRT and diet both are playing very important role for training of the teacher, either pre service teacher or in service teacher. Lead institutions should give, if you recall, a JBT and early this JBT, STC, BTC, elementary education for pre education, and there are so many. And this in-service teacher program also there, and both type of program also taken care by SCRT and DITES. So these lead institutions should be give proper training to trainers of DITES and block duly qualified and trained workers may be categorized as skilled workers, and rest unskilled worker, and remuneration also be given as per their skills. So thank you. Have a good day.
Sir,
Yeah, please.
excuse me. Sir, I kindly request on behalf of all we students, can you provide us slides for MES-083 and also for the future, for the,
MES-083, I think that is not taught by me, no?
yes, sir.
Dr. Ashok, I will request him. And,
The way you taught through slides was much more effective, and since we have not got the books, sir, uh, we can study from these slides, sir.
okay. I
We
will
all will
request.
be thankful to you, sir, if we.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. And anyway, we will try to get it from Dr. Ashok.
Okay, and also for the next this week, whatever you are going to taught us.
That I don't say, because this period I have taken on emergency basis.
Okay,
So we'll see next what
slides are more much effective for us, sir.
that I can understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Have
you,
a good
sir.
day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.